I'm on the mic, about to drop this rap. IrixGuy in the house is the boss of AI. Subscribe, ring that bell, and learn AI from the best in the game.
Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another AI with IrixGuy video, and I want to talk about something potentially disappointing, but I wanted to share my discovery with others. You may or may not have leveraged generative AI yet, generative artificial intelligence. If you have or you haven't, you probably still want to take a few minutes to listen to what I'm about to say. So I've heavily embraced generative AI for IrixGuy's Adventure channel. Everything from YouTube video thumbnail creation, YouTube video soundtracks, generate videos for my YouTube channel that I've created using generative AI for video. A lot of Bigfoot videos, you've seen them. If you haven't subscribed, ring that bell and check out my AI with IrixGuy video playlist where you're watching this video. But been heavily embracing generative AI, audio, video, image creation. It's an extremely powerful tool set, but something that recently happened really triggered me to create this video. I've got bugs flying around everywhere. Those little ladybugs are flying on my nose, they're flying on my hair, so if you see me swatting around like a wildcat, that's what's going on. But they are, so one of the tools that I used, and it was called Udio, U-D-I-O. Udio, I logged in this weekend like I normally do. I'm creating YouTube videos for IrixGuy's Adventure channel, where you're watching this, and then I get ready to generate my soundtrack. I'd filmed, I think it was a grilling video. I filmed that, and I needed a customized soundtrack talking about what I was grilling. Well, I go into Udio, I type in what I want the soundtrack to be, and then I get ready to download, and at least this weekend download was no longer available from Udio. So effectively, Udio is no longer available for me to use, at least temporarily, because I created the soundtrack, but I could no longer download it. So that goes into the reason why I created this video. Udio is just one of many examples of the dangers associated with introducing generative AI into one's workflow. So in my case, and I'm going to try to find an Udio alternative, and Udio may become available for use again, use being the ability to download the Udio created soundtracks, but I don't have a high level of confidence that it will, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But so I began leveraging Udio heavily as part of my video creation workflow here for IrixGuy's Adventure channel. Now sure, I'm not a multi-million-dollar operation, but I still depend upon certain tools to enable me to create videos for my channel. And Udio was one of those tools. It enabled me to fast-track the creation of customized and audibly pleasing soundtracks for my various videos. So the absence of Udio, at least temporarily, has put me in a pickle, because I've developed a dependence upon this tool to create my soundtracks. You know, no longer was I having to go to royalty-free music sources and download royalty-free music that was generic. Udio, I was able to create customized soundtracks for my videos, so it was relevant to what the viewer was watching. So it took things to the next level. But now I'm at least temporarily pulling Udio out of my tool set because I can't download, so it's not usable. So I've got to find an Udio alternative. However, even if I find an Udio alternative that's, let's say, 70% as good as Udio, because Udio was rock solid. I mean, it developed very audibly pleasing soundtracks. And it got it right with minimal amount of reattempts, because you typed in text audio and then it created the soundtrack, but it was pretty accurate. So if I can find something that's even a fraction as good as Udio, then I'm in the same boat. Now I'm fearful. Well, whatever happened to Udio, is that going to happen to the Udio alternative? So with generative AI, introducing it into one's workflow, it's beneficial. It can fast track a lot of things. It can improve the visual of an image, a thumbnail, a video. It can improve the audio, you know, the soundtrack, the sound effects of a video. In my case, you know, youtube.com/IrixGuy where you're watching this. But developing a heavy dependence upon generative AI tools is a dangerous thing, because if those tools are taken away for whatever reason, and and this is speculation, comment below and tell me what you think happened, but after a quick dive and performing quick research, I came to the personal assumption that Udio was probably taken offline, at least temporarily. Will it ever come back? I don't know. And if it does, will it have an extreme cost associated with it? Probably so. But my assumption with Udio for the music generation, and it was probably triggered by the, let's just call it the traditional music industry that has billions and billions of dollars. Justifiably so. You know, their industry that they've had for hundreds of years was quickly disrupted by the emergence of generative AI for music. So whatever happened, it happened. But it doesn't matter how it happened. The end result is that for a content creator like myself, I don't have access to that tool anymore. So if part of my workflow entails creating soundtracks for videos, I no longer have that in my bag right now. I'm going to try to find an alternative, but right now I don't have it in my bag. So in essence, I can create videos, but I can't create soundtracks. And I've got to go back to the past, which is leveraging royalty-free music, which is not anywhere nearly as good, and it's not customized for the individual videos. So developing this dependence upon generative AI, although it may seem like a time saver, although it may also seem like a quality improvement. I mean, I'm not a musician, but man, those soundtracks I create with Udio were outstanding. Now, the other fear that I have, okay, that happened to generative AI for music generation. Well, I leverage generative AI for video creation. Not necessarily the entire YouTube video, but throughout a video I may insert a few artificial intelligence generated video clips within my YouTube videos. Well, if what happened to generative AI for music happens to generative AI for video, now I'm in an additional world of hurt, because I've started to depend upon, not as much for the video as I did the soundtrack, but I've started to depend upon generative AI for video tools as well. And if that's pulled out from underneath me, there's two things that I've adopted: generative AI for music, generative AI for video, and I may no longer have access to either of those tools. So then I've got to pivot and go back and start doing more, let's say, green screen work, that sort of stuff, which is not as efficient as leveraging generative AI for video. So it's really, I think, and this is based upon my understanding of technology as a whole, but my assumption is that what we're probably seeing now, it's right now at the time of posting this, it is calendar year 2025 November. So to give you a point in time, but if you're watching this in the future, but man, that guy was an idiot, or man, that guy he saw the future. So my personal prediction is this, and comment below and tell me if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong. Tell me why you're right and explain why. And I'll try to post follow-up video responses too. But what I think we're seeing is the biggest sandbox ever. And what I mean by sandbox, I'm looking at this as the AI sandbox, the artificial intelligence sandbox. Think about it. You've got something cool. It doesn't even seem real. You know, we started seeing AI for still photos. That was cool, but it wasn't mind-blowing. Then we started seeing generative AI for music. Wow. Now you don't need a traditional musician. You've got access to any musician, any type of musician, you know, AI generated, not an actual person, but they can create custom soundtracks that are potentially better than a human. That's a game changer. And then you've got generative AI for video. Well, now you don't have to go to certain locations. You don't have to deal with costumes. You don't have to deal with wardrobe. You don't have to deal with human talent. It can all be AI generated with a combination of generative AI for images. Create a set of actors. Create their faces, their body type, and then leverage those still photos of the AI generated actors and insert those AI generated actors into AI generated videos. We don't need people. And then you've got the music component and the sound effects component. We don't need musicians. We don't need human musicians. We don't need all these tools to generate these sound effects. It's crazy. I mean, it really is. But when I say the artificial intelligence sandbox, where I'm going with this is, and you're probably smart enough to go, man, I already see what he's going to say. And maybe you're not as smart. And maybe you're smart, but you're intelligent in different ways. But the AI sandbox, what I mean is, by default, the curious types and the, let's just say, think outside of the box people like myself here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, we saw the opportunity and inevitably we dove in. I heavily embraced generative AI because, number one, I'm technically curious. Number two, I want to figure out how to monetize it. You know, I'm a businessman. I got to make money. And if I've got a tool set that can make things more efficient, heck yeah, I'm going to explore and see how I can leverage that tool set. Because if I can make things more efficient, in theory, I can pump out even more content and I can generate even more revenue. So I have a personal interest becoming involved with generative AI. But a lot of people just doing it as a curiosity. But the sandbox as a whole, think of the sandbox. You got business people in it. You've got, let's just say, little kids that are tinkering around. They're not looking for any sort of financial gain. Then you've got big business. But all of those people are part of that sandbox. They're playing. And part of that playing is enabling the creators of the various generative AI tool sets to see how it behaves or misbehaves. In essence, more people in the sandbox, it's breaking things. Well, breaking things is good for the people in control of the generative AI tool set. So they're able to diagnose and fix, and even if something's not broken, they're able to improve. I mean, just look at generative AI for video, how far it's come. I mean, now with, at the time of filming this, tools like Google Veo 3.1, we've got voice for the generative AI videos. We can generate voice as well with the video with lip sync. So it's actually fascinating. So if you didn't have potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in those sandboxes playing, all for different reasons, the developers of these generative AI tool sets wouldn't be gifted with that opportunity. So my theory is that all of this is panning out the way that, it's such an overused phrase, but big tech, you know, the big tech industry, in this case the big AI industry, is playing out in the way that the big artificial intelligence industry knew that it would. They're giving us a lot of these toys for free, but that rug is about to be quickly ripped out from underneath us. So I say this, and this isn't for fellow YouTube content creators, this is for anyone very wealthy, dirt poor, not even concerned with generating revenue from leveraging generative AI. But be cautious, because these tools, and Udio was, for me, the first, at least temporarily, not devastating, but at least the first temporary setback that's occurred for my channel because of my dependence upon artificial intelligence. That just illustrates what else could happen. So now my assumption is that anything that I leverage artificial intelligence to accomplish, I need to be prepared for a few things. I need to be prepared for A, that tool to become completely unavailable. In the case of Udio, I can't download the music, at least currently. So for me, it's completely unavailable. It's unusable for me. I've got to assume that's the case for all my artificial intelligence tools, for video, audio, sound effects, blah, blah, blah. It's unfortunate, but I've also got to consider, well, a lot of these tools are very affordable, if not free right now. Some of them are free. I've got to assume that some or all of those tools in the near future, even if they don't become unavailable, that they may still remain available, but now that the developers of those generative AI tools have created a dependence, that they're going to start charging. Now, the price that they may start to charge for a larger business may be insignificant. The price that they may start to charge for smaller businesses may be significant. and the price that they may start to charge for smaller YouTube content creators for myself may be cost prohibitive, meaning that leveraging those tools from a financial perspective is no longer an option, or even if it is an option, there's not noticeable return on investment, ROI, as a result of using those tools. So Udio is just one example that triggered these thought processes, and I wanted to share my thought processes with everyone, ultimately so you start to think and you subscribe and ring that bell and check out all my AI with IrixGuy videos and comment below. We're going to keep these videos coming, and I'm not here to create a false sense of fear that, oh, well, you can't use artificial intelligence, it's scary. I'm not trying to say that. Artificial intelligence, AI, is fascinating, but if you haven't gathered it already, my reason for posting this video is don't go all in without knowing what potentially could happen if the rug is pulled out from underneath you in the near future or the far future. So there's nothing wrong with exploring, there's nothing wrong with learning, but there should be the smart people like myself, IrixGuy's Venture Channel, there should be that plan B, meaning that, okay, well, if the tool's unavailable or it becomes cost prohibitive, what's my next option? And simply having an alternative generative AI tool is not necessarily a long-term option, because if, for example, with Udio, what happened to Udio, if it happens with the alternative soundtrack creation generative AI tool, then you're in the same boat again and you're having to find another one. So leverage generative artificial intelligence for what it is. Explore, perfect your own abilities with utilizing the tools. It's fascinating. But don't develop a dependence upon AI that cannot be replaced. Because when and if that new tool set, those generative AI tools, have to be bye-bye, cost reason, they no longer function, whatever, don't put yourself in a situation to where you don't have a traditional way of accomplishing whatever task. Generative AI is great, but at least with my workflow here on IrixGuy's Venture Channel, at the time of filming this, I'm not the largest YouTube channel. I'm a little bit shy of 100,000 subscribers, not that big. By the way, subscribe and ring that bell and check out my AI with IrixGuy video playlist. But I am growing, and I do care about my channel, and I do care about my viewers. So this is scary, and I do believe, I firmly believe, and comment below, tell me I'm silly or whatever, but I do firmly believe that all of us, all different levels, hobbyists, large enterprise, small business, YouTube channels like IrixGuy's Venture Channel, larger YouTube channels, smaller YouTube channels, that all of us are part of this AI sandbox, and we're about to be very surprised when we start to lose access to our tool sets that we've developed a dependency upon. So be careful. Thanks for your viewership. Comment below, subscribe, ring that bell, and check out all of my AI with IrixGuy videos here on youtube.com/IrixGuy. And don't be afraid of AI. Embrace it. It's cool. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.